All right, in this workout, we are going to look at backstroke for distance freestylers or backstroke for triathletes. Now, I'm going to start by looking at the 4 most common mistakes that I see people make all the time when trying to learn how to do backstroke. Then we will look at the specific elements that we can take from backstroke, apply to your freestyle to actually make your freestyle better. And then we'll look at the workout and all the drills that we're going to do to tune up your backstroke so that you are swimming it better than ever in one simple workout. So, I don't have much video of, actually I don't think I have any video of you swimming backstroke. So we might as well just look at the best backstrokers in the world. And then me, who I would say is a developing backstroker, but enough that I'll be able to at least break down some of my mechanics and how that may apply to your freestyle. So the first common mistake I see in backstroke is the head position, where you are flexed at the neck, looking down at your feet, hips are dropped. So just like freestyle, the head leads everything. It must be stable. It must be in a nice neutral position. You can look up too much. You can look down too much. So as you can see, these swimmers here, this beautiful neutral head position doesn't move. And if you've ever seen those people in the pool swimming with water bottles on their forehead, that would be the drill to achieve it. So the next most common mistake that I see would be on the entry. Most people, whether you have shoulder mobility or not, tend to reach over the midline. And again, whether you have shoulder mobility to do it like this or you just bend the elbow, for some reason, there's always an overreach. So you really need to think about the hand entry as 10 and 2. And that's probably going to put you in line with the shoulder. So that crossing over, all it does is put us out of balance and waste extra time getting to the part where you want to catch the water and actually provide force to propel yourself forward. Crazy idea. So as you can see, all these swimmers here are pretty much entering right in front of the shoulder. They probably feel like they're 10 and 2, but again, that would be one I see all the time. Next would be stroke timing. The stroke timing tends to be reverse catch-up for most people learning how to do backstroke, meaning you fire one arm, and then you fire the other arm, and the arms are always down, as opposed to what we see on our fronts and freestyle with catch-up is our arms are always up. So it would be the opposite. Now, stroke timing in backstroke, there is a little more of a windmill stroke time than the catch-up timing for freestyle. But we don't want to be, again, ending up catching up at the bottom here. So our position is actually going to be, which you'll see in a second, arm up to the point where you are about to apply your maximum amount of force. So after the catch, this is kind of our catching position. So from here, this is, or I shouldn't say catching position, our power position, ready to really push the water or pull the water. So here, this is where the arm pull and that recovery is going to happen same time. Shoot. And then as this arm finishes, it's going to come right up and over as this arm slowly catches up. And then it alternates. So as you can see here, when I slow it down, and we'll look at the swimmer. Let's look at the swimmer on the left. So as he recovers, or as he's recovering here, the arm under the water, which is a little pixelated, hard to see, but you can kind of see a shadow. He's setting up. Arm is now pointed straight up. The other arm is kind of out to that side, ready to give that big push and shooting that recovery arm forward as you're coming through with the arm pull or push, however you want to think about it in relation to your shoulder. So arm timing, basically keep the arms moving as opposed to letting them die and just sit at the finish. I would say that's probably one of the most common mistakes. Then I would say the last one is actually your stroke mechanics, where you are keeping your elbow straight the whole time. And as you can see here, and we'll look at the middle lane again, the white cap, there's quite a pronounced bent elbow. There's quite a bit of internal rotation. So the catch in the backstroke is almost exactly the same as the catch in the freestyle. It just happens out to the side a little bit more. So in freestyle, we're entering, we're internally rotating, setting our paddle up. In the backstroke, no difference. We're entering, we're internally rotating to set up our paddle. We're dropping that elbow instead of keeping the elbow high. So it's just, again, a total flip. But that internal rotation stays consistent. The setting up the paddle stays consistent. And hopefully there you can grab as much water as possible. Now, the problem when you're not bending your elbow, typically what tends to happen, or as I see swimmers reaching back behind their shoulder line, which really compromises that shoulder joint. So you want to keep your shoulders together. We want to keep everything in line, nice straight line, which I'm going to show you in my video as I break it down a little bit better from the front view, because I have control over the camera angles. You'll see how important that is, not to rip the shoulders apart. And the hand stays pretty close to the surface of the water. So the elbow actually drops a little bit lower in the water. The hand stays a little closer to the surface. And the pull is more out to the side than deep underneath your body, as if you're just rotating like a straight windmill. So you can see that very apparent here. Again, looking at that middle swimmer, he's catching. The elbows drop. The hand's pretty close to the surface as he pushes through with that full paddle of the forearm and hand here. So getting those mechanics for shoulder health, and then you can see as the body rolls, it comes over enough where he's never reaching back behind his shoulder, compromising that shoulder joint, which we'll see at the front of my shot here. So the elements that translate really nicely into freestyle, I talked about head position. Head position is always going to be important. But when we talk about these arm mechanics, as you can see here, this would be the internal rotation a little bit. I probably could do it a little bit better. But this movement, me pulling down to the side and my hand, you know, as I say, I'm a developing backstroke. Could probably be a little bit closer to the surface as I pick apart different things here. But I am doing a lot of the pull, hopefully activating my lat muscles here, which I think from backstroke, because it's a little bit more to the side, it's a little easier to fire those lat muscles, which then hopefully when you flip over to your front, you can keep that feeling of what they feel like activating and start incorporating them into your freestyle pull a lot more. So backstroke, for the sake of lat activation, I think is incredibly useful. My scrubber's going funny here. The other thing for backstroke is obviously we're starting to now rotate our arms in the opposite direction. So I talked about this with breaststroke. It's really nice sometimes to do nice, easy breaststroke kick just for mobility purposes, letting the hips move around that ball and socket joint. Very similar for backstroke as well. Sometimes it's nice just to move through a different range of motion. Muscle activation through the shoulder is going to be a little bit different due to that rotational change, basically rotating in the opposite direction as your freestyle. So again, just moving through some mobility. Sometimes it's nice to just unwind the shoulders, which again, really nice for backstroke. Breathing, I also see as an opportunity to practice. Now, when your face is out of the water, you can breathe whenever you like. That being said, it's still really important to coordinate your breath with your stroke rate. Sometimes that falls apart in backstroke because you can breathe whenever you like. But there should be a pattern where you're exhaling per certain number of strokes and inhaling per a certain number of strokes. The nice thing again on backstroke is you can inhale for 2 strokes as opposed to inhaling for 1 stroke. So you can play with that a little bit, and if you can take some of that breathing practice into your freestyle, it may make your breathing more effective in freestyle as well. The last thing I would say for backstroke, it's nice to be able to roll over and rest whenever you like. As a life-saving skill, just like breaststroke. That being said, I don't really like backstroke in the open water, particularly because I don't have any reference point visually if I'm looking up at the sky. So sometimes I feel a little seasick on my back. It's also pretty much impossible to sight where you're going. That being said, I've seen some funny videos of some downstream swim of people just on their back doing some double arm backstroke. Probably holding 1 minute per hundredths on this downstream current, but it's an option as well. Other than that, again, for recovery, for mixing it up, backstroke is a wonderful, wonderful stroke to be able to do. And like I said, to really fire those lats, great opportunity. So let's look at the workout and the drills that we're going to do to really tune up your backstroke. So we have another drill heavy workout, but we're going to kick it off as we normally do in the warm up with a little bit of swim, kick, and then actually breaststroke. We'll practice that stroke a little bit today. Then we are going to do some breathing focus where we will play with some breathing timing, some breath control. Again, focused on good exhales, good inhales. So 650s of freestyle where you're breathing every 3 strokes on the way down, 5s or 7s on the way back. If you need to mix that up a little bit, feel free. But as long as you're stretching it out, playing with different breathing timings, playing with different breath controls, or working on your breath control. And getting some good exhales and good inhales. That's all we're trying to achieve. Then we're going to play with the breathing, doing breaststroke. So we did this drill somewhat in the previous workouts when we focused on breaststroke, where we did 1 arm pull to 2 kicks, so extending our time under the water. We're going to play with that idea. So you're going to do 1 kick to 1 arm pull, which is basically breaststroke. Then 2 kicks to 1 arm pull, which is the drill that you did. Then we're going to stretch it out. 3 kicks to 1 arm pull, 4 kicks to 1 arm pull, 5 kicks to 1 arm pull. So that's going to require you to get under the water, travel below the surface, control the breathing, so slow exhales. Hopefully when you come up for that 1 inhale, you can actually get a good deep breath, and we will continue to work on your breathing. Then we move down to a little bit more drill work. If you want to wear fins for this, I would highly recommend it. We're going to do 450s, which we're just going to go through. 2 cycles of it. I was going to say we only go through once. Some of you will only go through once. Again, depending what level you're at. But first, we're going to start off with just streamline kick on back. So head position, body line, everything in line. Neutral head, tight streamline, tight all the way down, hopefully kicking nice horizontal position in the water. Then we're going to move that onto our side. So exact same thing, except 1 arm is up, 1 arm is down, kind of like we did on freestyle, except on our backside. Again, head position, maintain body line, this time using the kick to balance on our side or our backside. And that will be the next one. Before we then move the arms down, so soldier kick, except you're going to rotate those shoulders out of the water as you swim. So now, nice head position, nice body line, using the kick to balance the rotation back and forth. I usually call these sexy shoulders, and we want to just practice getting that shoulder roll, which is going to add to the next one, or the next one we're going to add to that, which is just going to be recovering to your hand is pointing up to the ceiling or the sky, then back down. So shoulder roll, arm half recovery. So you're not going to finish it. You're just going to lift it to the ceiling or point to the ceiling, roll the shoulder out and back down. Roll the shoulder out, back down. So again, we're just practicing on getting the shoulder up out of the water so that when we do recover, we're not pushing all the water back with us, causing a whole bunch of drag. So lots of body position work there and balance work as we work the rotation back and forth. So 1 or 2 sets of that. Then we move on to the main set. First, we're going to start with a little bit of skull. I'd say sculling the finish down here is probably going to be the only effective skull position for you right now. If you're a little more advanced and you're good at backstroke, you can typically get some good 1-arm sculls up here in the catch. Mid pull, a little more awkward. So again, we'll limit it to just the skull finish for now. Pay attention to the way the water feels, and hopefully we'll get some dexterity and some feeling of holding the water on our backs. Then we're going to move into double arm backstroke. So double arm backstroke. I already razzed somebody swimming a triathlon like that, but again, it can be a very useful stroke. Or master swimmers, a lot of people that'll race double arm backstroke. So this one particularly good for shoulder mobility, for entry position, because it's really difficult to do 1-arm backstroke and actually finish all the way up here. So that 10 and 2 entry. And then once you do enter the water, this is where, instead of just keeping the arms straight and doing these shoulder circles, this is where we actually want to bend the elbow, set up a little bit for the push. So we can start working the mechanics and do it quite effectively with 2 arms instead of 1 arm. Then we'll take it into 1 arm, and this is where we're going to really practice the mechanics. And I just want to look at those mechanics very quickly here. So with this bent elbow, what we're looking for, and again, this could be done with double arm, which hopefully you may have achieved. But doing 1-arm drill, we're taking the 1 arm out of it, so you don't have to focus on one. And you can do this drill a number of different ways. One, definitely wear fins so you have additional propulsion, or you're probably going to sink because your arm pull is probably ineffective. To train the hand coming a little closer to the surface, another one I like is actually grabbing the lane rope. So lane rope pull, where you're reaching back, grabbing the lane rope, letting your elbow drop, but your hand stays close to the surface, obviously holding the lane rope, and you can do your push there. Now, you do have to be aware of where the little spools are on the lane rope and whether you're going to push them down or actually grab water or not. You also need to work with your lane to determine, what direction you need to swim for what interval to do that effectively if you're swimming with other people. So one arm drill, grabbing the lane rope is a great one to train that dropped elbow or deeper elbow, hand a little closer to the surface, and I really like that one. But we can also do one arm without it. And the arm you're not using, the difference is you're going to keep this down as opposed to the freestyle where we kept it up a lot of the time. So arm is down, and you're just focusing on the mechanics on one arm. Probably one arm, just like in freestyle, is going to work better than the other arm, the one with better motor control, usually. So that'll be the one arm drill that we do. And then we are going to finish off by hopefully putting it somewhat together by doing some freestyle and backstroke. However, the focus on this one is actually going to be your stroke rate. So you're going to swim 75 meters of freestyle. Pay attention to your stroke rate. How fast are your arms moving? What is your stroke count in your length? And then when you get to the 25 backstroke, try to keep it as close as you can. So if you find your backstroke really slows down because you're doing this catch up at the finish, then we'll want to get those arms going a little quicker. I'm in a chair. I'm doing terrible backstroke arms, but bear with me. So really pay attention to the stroke timing, keeping the arms moving, not getting stuck at the finish, which again is one of the most common things I see. And then we will work some pushes off the wall, just pushing off on our back, staying orientated like that. And some of you have already practiced that in some of our turn work, but we'll practice basically just pushing off on our back, streamline. How's our spatial awareness? Are we pushing ourselves into the ground, up to the surface too soon, or just right? Are we able to actually hit a dolphin kick to a flutter kick to breaststroke arm breakout? Do we just not get water shot up our nose? So just learning how to slowly exhale or maintain a negative airway can also be good practice. So that is how we'll finish off with some turns or some pushes, and then we'll just cool down. Get ready for the next workout, which we'll do backstroke stroke timing. That one will be tough. No, actually, it's super easy until you think about it. It's basically the opposite of freestyle, so it'll be fun. Till next workout, take care.